Welcome to it, sports fans. It is the MKT Show. I'm MKT, Cliff Central Sport. Welcome to it. Wednesday, 27th of January. Good to be alive. Good to be alive. Good to have you on board. Um, hey, this Premier League thing is coming on. The sports is coming on thick and strong now. Everybody's back. You know, a year ago, everybody was doom and gloom. Will it all break? UFC, of course, Connor's back. UFC is going every 2 weeks now. Boxing's rolling back in the next 2 weeks. We got Truax taking on the old Sweet Hands this weekend. IBF super middleweight title. Cannot wait for that. That is going to be a great fight, by the way. If you are into the pugilist sport, I highly recommend watching Caleb Squared this weekend. It is going to be magnificent. It's Caleb Plant versus Caleb Truax. And Caleb Plant, by the way, is something else. They call him Sweet Hands. He is a real scientist. Truax, former champion, of course. That'll be awesome. Great to see that on the weekend. Other than that, Premier League's back. Rugby's back. It's all back. Good to have you in. Let's get into it. By the way, before I start, if you go to Betway SA, no matter where you are, go and support the show. We have a brand new show, myself and a dude called Ben Karpinski. Very, very cool show. So I'll be giving you my picks. I'll give you 5 picks every week. Go and watch the show, support the show. And yeah, hey, if you support that, it'll make this show better. So that's great news. Go and support the Way to Go show. Go to all the social media on Betway. Like, share, subscribe. Give feedback if you must. Really, really looking forward to that project. Betway SA. Go and check out their social media across the board. We launched a show today. The Way to Go is the name of that show. Like, share, subscribe. Be a friend, tell a friend. Otherwise, this show, Cliff Central Sport, of course, on all social media platforms. Go ahead and like, share, subscribe. It's the best show your friends haven't seen yet. All right, let's get into it. Today we're going to talk a little bit of Chelsea. Thomas Tuchel, I'll give you my sort of look into him. He's a couple of minutes away, about 10 minutes away from his Chelsea debut as the manager. So that'll be interesting. I'll tell you what I think his prospects are. And then we'll talk a little bit about the cricket. We'll finish off on that. Let's get into it. MKT Inspires on all social media. Otherwise, Cliff Central Sport, Cliff C Sport on the Tweet Monster. All right, Thomas Tuchel, let's start there. Chelsea, a new regime. It starts again. And we're on the Ferris wheel again. It is what it is now. Chelsea is Roman and everybody else is there to serve the empire. So, you know, in every relationship is whenever you break up with somebody, right, is generally what people do is there's somebody who you know likes you or looks up to you. And what people generally do is maybe instead of like not dating anybody and they're used to affection, breakups are hard. To soothe that trauma a bit, it's nice to have somebody around you who admires you, who you never go for somebody you're reaching for. You always go for somebody admires you. You know how people do that. You know how it goes. So they'll treat you like gold, and you just want to, while you're healing, you want to have somebody treat you like an emperor or an empress. I call these people gap people. I know a few people that cannot be single, but this person isn't there to be in a long-term relationship. They are there to soothe your ego, to soothe your soul after you got tragically dumped by whoever. This happens, right? Especially the more traumatic the relationship, the more often people will have what I call gap people. So these gap people make you feel better in tough times. That's exactly who Thomas Tuchel is for Chelsea, I'm afraid. Traumatic breakup with Frank Lampard. It's not great for anybody. It doesn't look good. They've invested a lot into the relationship, and they don't feel like they got back what they wanted. What Chelsea need is a gap person, right? Is the person they wanted. It didn't work out. Maybe they weren't who they thought they were. Maybe the idea of the person when you met them and you dated them and you admired their six-pack from afar. Perhaps when you get into it, they're not grown-ups. They got mommy and daddy issues. These things happen. Maybe they're not ready to be in a relationship long-term. This happened. Frank Lampard was not ready to be in a relationship long-term. And Chelsea were ready to win and win now. Chelsea were ready to get married now. Lampard was nowhere near it. So they got a gap person. And Thomas Tuchel, here's what the history tells you. So let's get out of our feelings. Let's get out of speculation and conjecture. His longest job was at Mainz. That was 5 years. A gap person, right? Mainz isn't a job where everybody wants the job. Right? Everybody wants to be with a certain girl, a certain guy, a grown up who's got their life together, who's good looking, is fit. Everybody wants that. Nobody wants the emotional wreck who's, not domesticated and falls apart all the time. Nobody wants to date that person. Right? Minds is not a sort of job everybody wants. That was 5 years there. But what happened when Thomas Tuchel went to the top, the supermodels, right? The adults, the grown-ups, the ones everybody wants to date, wants to be seen with. He went to PSG. That lasted 2 years. He had Neymar and Mbappe and, Varate, and that was Marquinhos, Dani Alves, Kempemba. It's an unbelievable team. Yes, he won in France. Couldn't get them to the promised land. But more important than that, 2 years. But I think more damning than PSG, because I think it's an unstable environment anyway. People might say, oh, PSG are blah, 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 whatever. All right, he lasted 2 years. That's all I know. But the more damning one for Thomas Tuchel, he was at Dortmund, and that only lasted 2 years. And there was really some runway there, because after Klopp had left, they hadn't really settled on a guy, and Tuchel was known as the next guy. Dortmund are the most faithful team in the world once you are one of them. They are patient with young players, extremely patient. The fans, the yellow wall is extremely patient. By the way, the club is owned by the fans at Dortmund, right? They are large stakeholders in the team, and it's in German football, of course, it is compulsory to let the fans own part of the team. But there is no one like Dortmund. Uber patient with young talent. Uber patient with young talent. And even more patient with managers, because they're realistic. They know they're not Bayern Munich. Thomas Tuchel lasted 2 years. Now, that has to tell you something. Every time he went with the people that you'd want to date, you'd want to marry, didn't work out. PSG, 2 years. Dortmund, 2 years. Mainz, 5 years. Nobody wants to be at Mainz. Chelsea is a whole different ballgame. He got 18 months. Chelsea is a whole different ballgame. So Tuchel's contract is 18 months. What does that tell you? We're not dating. We're just vibing, is what the kids say. We're not dating. We're just vibing. We're not going to put a ring on it. And don't leave your hairbrush at my house. You can sleep over on weekends. That's what's happening with Chelsea. They don't love him. They like him. They don't love him. 18 months tells you, okay, we've seen your track record, but there's a mandate, right? Gap people have a mandate. Just like when you get dumped, right, is the gap person has a mandate. Just make me feel better. Just fix some of my problems, even if it's now in the short term. His mandate is very clear. There are 3 kids that came from the Bundesliga. One he had at Dortmund, and the other 2 are the current German stars. Fix the German kids. That's all it's about. We invested over 120 million pounds in 2 German kids. 200 million pounds in all 3 of them. Pulisic, Werner, Havertz, fix it. That is his mandate right now. It's not long term. It's not top 4. It's not win the league next season. Fix the German kids. He's not winning the Champions League. He's not winning the league this season. The team's not there. I mean, the talent's there, but the mentality's not there. There's no way. They'll get top 4, maybe, the big manager bounce. His mandate is nothing but to fix the Chelsea kids, the Chelsea German kids. Within the next 12 months, ensure Werner is firing. What does Werner need? What is wrong? How do we put him in a position to succeed? Havertz he's our next Lampard. You've invested 90 million pounds. You are not letting go of that situation of a 21-year-old everybody wants. Worst case scenario, you give him 3 seasons. Fix the German kids. He's a gap person. That's why Chelsea gave him 18 months with an option to extend that contract to 24 months. Listen, some people, and we all need to accept it in life, some of us aren't marriage material. Some of us aren't girlfriend or boyfriend material. Can we change that? Yes. But Thomas Tuchel has done nothing by lasting 2 years at PSG, and 2 years. This is the one that worries me. Everyone keeps telling me how brilliant he is. He lasted 2 years at Dortmund. And Dortmund at the time were desperate. Remember, Jurgen Klopp had just nearly got relegated. They were desperate to find somebody. And he still couldn't make it work there. They couldn't wait to get him out of town. That is the club. If you're a manager in the world and you're starting out, you want to be at Dortmund. They are so patient. They will love you. They'll suffocate you with love. They will love you to your death. He's the one manager in Dortmund history from 96 that I can remember. I was going through all the managers that they said, get the hell out. I mean, they've let go of a few since, but he was supposed to be the prodigal son, the second coming. Thomas Tuchel, a gap guy. Not marriage material. I like you, but I don't love you. You can sleep over at my house on the weekends, but bring a bag and don't leave it here. That's what you do with gap people. So Thomas Tuchel ain't no way it's long term. He just better be ready for that. And for me, his prospects ain't great. It ain't great because Roman is clearly not mucking about. He's looking for another Mourinho, and I don't know if Tuchel is that. There's nothing about Mourinho, about Tuchel, that has shown me that he's the guy. And by the way, if you don't think he's a gap guy, you better believe if Chelsea don't make top 4 this season, Tuchel will be gone 2 months into next season. He will be gone by December next season. If Chelsea are not top 2, top 3, 5 points off the league with 15 games gone, he's out. I'm just saying. Folks, it's got to be one of two things why he lasted 2 years at PSG and 2 years at Dortmund, of all places. Either he's not a great coach or he doesn't get along with people. Now, you've just had Frank Lampard, who, for whatever reason, it didn't look like the coaching went well, and he didn't get along with some of the players. The reports are coming out. That's not a good combination. Now, Thomas Tuchel is one of those two things. Dortmund don't just fire people. People are who they are. Top 4 this year, it's not negotiable. And if he doesn't get it, he has until December next season. So forget about 12 months. He's got like 10 months. He's got like 10 months in this job. 18 months on the contract. Thomas Tuchel, good luck. Nothing about Roman Abramovich, though, tells me you will be here at the end of next season. Good luck to the guy. I'm a Chelsea fan. I just don't see it, though. His history tells me. And my old man always used to say, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. I saw what you did at PSG. No good. And no good. Don't tell me about the Champions League final loss. You were never in it. And then Dortmund, that's the one that worries me. And Chelsea are a different beast. All right, let's move on to this one. Let's finish off on the cricket. I love Test cricket. It's back. I love the Proteas. But I just want to go over this quickly. If you're a Proteas fan, you're probably hurting as much as I am. So there's one rule in going to the subcontinent. One rule. You've got to have a middle order, and you have to be able to dismiss the tail. I'll tell you why. Let's start with the batting. With the batting is you need the openers, even if your openers make 10 and 30, doesn't matter. But they got to bat 90 balls each. Because on the subcontinent, the ball erodes quite quickly. And then what you need to do is you cash in with the middle order because it's hot and the bowlers are tired, especially when you bat first. You really want your openers getting it to around that 30, 35 over mark, because then the ball starts to wane. And then even then, the ball's almost too new at that mark for the spinners to come into effect. But you need to mind your P's and Q's because those pitches aren't here. They are not glass for 2 days. It's not like batting in the nets, at the Wanderers. It's like batting in the nets for 2 days. The Proteas don't have that. We've been awful up front, and people love Dean Elgar. I'm 50-50. Stop calling him the new Gary Kirsten. And this toughness thing, I don't know where they get it. I mean, Gary Kirsten's over here for toughness. Elgar's, I don't know, just because he's from the south. I mean, come on, guys. And if you're not South African, the south of Johannesburg, it's famous for, what you might call knuckleheads, for lack of a better term. I don't know how to put it better than that, but they got a bit of a reputation in the south. So if you're American, think of your typical Boston guys, but not the academics. The guys on the docks, the mass holes they call them. Your typical Boston guy in a bar, working class, blue collar guy, tough Tommy, huh? Those are the guys from the south. Dean Elgar's kind of got that reputation. but mentally, I don't see it. He's constantly making horrible decisions. So number one, we don't have an opening batting pair. That's a problem on the subcontinent. But an even bigger problem is you cannot have Faf du Plessis and Themba Bavuma as your rocks, because that's not a middle order. Both of those guys should be batting number 7 in a bad batting lineup. And it's hard to bat on the subcontinent because you know what they do? They play 2 spinners, and it's turning square, by the way, by the end of day 1. Which is why you have to, especially when you bat first, you've got to cash in the first 70 overs. Proteas got bowled out for 220, and it was embarrassing with the shot selection. What it was is it's a lack of technical ability, because Test cricket, especially subcontinent pitches, it's about nothing else but technical ability. And by the way, the mental side is obviously a part of that. Leaving is vital on the subcontinent. It is absolutely vital on the subcontinent. Spinners, you need to know where your stumps are with spinners, because you cannot be playing at everything outside the line of the stumps. You can pad things away. You need to know where the ball's landing. These are, hand-eye coordination skills, and I really don't want to get into the boring side of the technical side of cricket. But the ability to pick up the pitch of the ball, especially with spinners, and to know where your stumps are. You see, the great players of spin get what they call in cricket outside the line, and they do that thing where they pretend like they're playing at the ball, but they're not actually blocking it. They're just putting the bat there so it looks like it. It's really a way to leave the ball. The Proteas have been awful. And that was what I watched in that first innings is under 9. I went to a primary school called Bryandale. I had the most magnificent coach called Robbie De Beer. He taught me that when I was 9, some of the stuff I saw there. Folks, this is not good. And it's on the Proteas. We let it go too long. Graham Smith, we let him play too long. When AB started a singing career, can him. We don't owe AB de Villiers any favors. Should have canned him then. We let Jacques Kallis retire. We let Hashim Amla retire. We let AB de Villiers retire in the space of 12 months, 18 months. JP Duminy, who I know people are kind of on the fence about him, but we let him retire. We let 5 or 6 retire at the same time. Oh, by the way, you're losing Dale Steyn at the same time. Oh, you know what? Morne Morkel's leaving at the same time. Can't happen. Imran Tahir, by the way, you lose him as well, because you know who you could use right now? Imran Tahir. And another thing, why are the Proteas so bad at bowling the tail? Now, Rabada, I forgive, right? To be at the top of the game. This isn't T20 cricket where you can come back, play 5 games, and you're back in the mix because it's about a bit of excitement, right? Is Test cricket, you've got to be conditioned. If you're a sportsman, you're not, even if you're in business, it takes the first month and a half, especially if you're in a high-intensity job. If you're an actuarial scientist, to be at the top of your game, you've got to get those reps in. You've got to get that rhythm. And it takes 5, 6, 7 tests to get back into bowling 15, 20 overs a day. Rabada won't be world-class for another, I give it 8 to 10 months. He's got to get back in the field. He's got to trust his body. These injuries are hard to come back from, especially when you are 150 kilometers an hour. But why are we so bad at bowling to the tail? They were 34 for 4. Or was it 44 for 4? It's 308 for 8 now. What is wrong with this Proteas team? Is the coaching? For me, it's a mess. It's a lack of continuity from the last era. And that is a problem. And can we please just be brutal? Faf, you got to get out of here. Bavuma, you got to get out of here. Because I tell you what, we can be rubbish without them. If you're a Proteas fan, be honest. We can be rubbish without Bavuma and out Faf and build the next generation. What I don't want to be is waste another 2 years with Faf, and then you waste another 2 years with Bavuma. And then you know what? You throw a youngster in the deep end in 2 years' time, and then you're rubbish again. Invest in Hamza now. Put Hamza in the team now, and you say, you got 3 years, mate. By the way, to Hamza, you say this. You're going to play all the domestic cricket. There's none of this you're resting because you're a Protea, because you need the experience, but you're undroppable. You got to have Aiden Markram, undroppable. Hamza, undroppable. That is your Cullis and that is your Smith for the future. And stop opening with Markram, by the way. He's not an opener, but we'll get to that on another thing. But get rid of Bavuma, get rid of Faf, because they're not doing anything now. They are old, they are over the hill, but they are not good enough. You cannot have a middle order in the subcontinent, and you need the middle order to win on the subcontinent. You can't have them averaging 40 like Faf does, batting 3. I'm sorry, that's not good enough. That's a number 6's average in Test cricket. But then you cannot have your number 4, 5, 6, wherever Bavuma considers himself, averaging 29, 30. I'm sorry. And he's had his chances now. Faf's had his chances now. Don't tell me about 199 against that club team Sri Lanka. I don't want to hear it. You can't average 40. It's really, it's unforgivable. And I just want to finish off on this. Who's doing the selection? Is it a secret to any of us who are cricket fans? Folks, you've got to have 2 spinners playing in Pakistan. I've been watching cricket since I was 6 years old. 28 years. What is it that they say about the subcontinent? Spinners. I don't care that we can't play spinners. All right, we're rubbish in the batting. Listen, Maharaj, unfortunately, is a defensive spinner. And I like him because he will hold up an end. Now, when you're playing in Australia, England, here, great. Because what he does is plug up an end, and then you got Rabada, Nokia, and then whoever else is at the, it looks like Pretorius for now, but we had Morkel or whoever at the other end. It was Steyn, Rabada, Morkel, Philander, and then Maharaj holds an end, and he goes at 2.5, 3 and over, and he'll nick a wicket here and there. That's great for these pitches. But I'll tell you what, he's not taking wickets over there. And even if he does, folks, if you don't watch cricket, let me tell you something. You know how spinners take wickets? It's not always about his ability. Shane Warne is the only, maybe Stuart McGill, but Shane Warne is the only one who ever really was an attacking spinner. He didn't care what was happening. Is most spinners, I don't care how good they are, Graham Swan, Richie Beno, whoever you're considering as a good spinner, Anil Kumble, whoever it is spinners take runs by looking at the scoreboard. So they need runs on the board because spinners need to build pressure because they have to set people up, whether it's if you're a leg spinner, you're setting them up for the googly, the slider, the flipper, as they call it. There's a couple of deliveries, or you want to set somebody up. Nobody did this like Warne. You said, and go and watch videos of Herschel Gibbs, how he used to set Gibbs up for the LBW. But what you need is room for error as a spinner, because if you get attacked for 6, 7 overs and you're not quite in your game, that should be okay. But when you make just over 200, Maharaj has nothing to play with. So now he has to be defensive against people that play 10 spinners, 10 times his quality. There are 30 spinners, I guarantee you, in Pakistan, better than Maharaj. So he's bread and butter for them. And you cannot have one spinner, I'm afraid, and make 200 in the first innings. Not on the subcontinent. So who's into the selection here? What is going on? You've got an unfit Rabada. You've got Nokia, who's never played on the subcontinent in any sort of meaningful game. And then the rest of the bowling's raw. So you got to say, Rabada, you can't count in this game. He is not fit. So you got Maharaj as the defensive spinner on the subcontinent. Play anybody. I honestly don't care who it is. You need 2 spinners. And it's going to cost us. It's just unbelievable. By the way, go and check out Betway's social media. It's our new show with a guy called Ben Karpinski, myself and Ben. Look out for more on that Betway. So Betway ZA, go and check out their social media and go and watch the show. It's called The Way to Go Show. Support it. Please like, share, subscribe. We just launched it. It's the very first episode. We're going to do more and expand it, and hoping to bring you more on that sports betting side. But every week I'll be giving you 5 predictions. I did a Proteas prediction, and that's what you call a teaser in the industry. Go and check it out and let me know what you think. I'm MKT Inspires on social media. Let me know what you think about my Proteas prediction. People said I was crazy when I made it. I had a call. I had a DM from somebody at Betway. Said, "Are you crazy picking that in the Protea game?" Well, here we are. I've been watching cricket since I was 6. I love Test cricket. There's a reason I'm single. It's because of Test cricket. I love it. Folks, I lived in Cape Town for 3 years. Every single Test match that was in Cape Town, I went to every single day of every single Test match in Cape Town for 3 years. That's like we're talking 9, 10 tests. I went every single day. It is football and Test cricket have my heart. I cannot believe what I'm watching with the Proteas. The succession planning is awful. There's no middle order. And I cannot believe we're in the subcontinent picking an unfit Rabada, a raw Nokia, and a defensive spinner. and no other backup spinner. Dean Elgar's not a spinner. I'd love to know what you think. Let me know, but I find this ludicrous. It is a circus. And we brought this on ourselves. I'm bitterly disappointed. But somebody needs to say something. Because it's almost like we're okay with this mediocrity and the madness of Proteas cricket right now. It's not acceptable. And sorry, I'm a truth sayer. If I have to say it, great. But the media, most of the media is in bed with, with the players. Everybody in South Africa the media wants to. They're soft. They want to be friends with the players. I love cricket. Listen, I don't love AB de Villiers, unbelievable talent. I don't love AB de Villiers more than I love the Proteas. I don't care who you are. As soon as you disrespect the Proteas, as soon as you're not good enough, get the hell out. This isn't Montessori, where everybody gets a chance and a medal, and if you fall and you scrape your knee, Auntie Janice is going to come kiss it better. This is the real deal. One of the greatest cricket brands of all time, and it's being run like a mom and pop shop. It's disgusting. It is disgusting. Picking one spinner on the subcontinent. Incompetence par excellence. Unmatched incompetence. It is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Love to know what you think on the Chelsea thing and the Proteas. Hit me up, MKT Inspires. Otherwise, remember, sport@cliffcentral.com. That's sport, no S. Whatever your feedback is. I love all feedback. By the way, I've got so many emails. If I don't get back to your emails, soz. But I do read them, and I love them, and I love the feedback. By the way, I don't just want good news. I want the sour stuff. Hey, I disagree with you. Awesome. Send that. I love it. I love it. I love that you're watching the show and you're engaging, and it's been awesome, and we're growing nicely because of you guys. So eternally grateful. Once again, Betway ZA. Go and check out the Betway social media. Just want to make sure that show goes nicely for us. We've worked really, really hard on the whole campaign. Ben Karpinski's worked really hard there, and we are putting something together. Hopefully, that's a little bit different for you. And if you're in the sports gambling world, I'm gonna be bringing you 5 picks a week. Go and check that out. It is called The Way to Go Show. It's on Twitter, Instagram. Otherwise, you can go and check me out. MKT Inspires. That's Mike Kilo Tango. MKT Inspires. I posted the video this afternoon. Go and check out the link. It is on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe. Like the YouTube page, Betway ZA or Betway South Africa, and go and like that. But let me know. Hit me up on the MKT Inspires. Otherwise, Cliff Central Sport. Otherwise, sport@cliffcentral.com is the email address. Proteas, no good. All right, let's finish off with Mr. Booth, Cameron Booth. He says, Proteas lack that ruthlessness to get rid of the tail. And Cameron, it's been a while. Do you know what? Even with Steyn, Morkel, and Philander, we were awful at the tail. And Rabada, we were no good at the tail. What is it? Coaching? These are top line bowlers. It's true. You've got to be nasty, hey, to the tail. You look at Australia, we're bouncing. Cummins doesn't care. He'll bounce number 11. Okay, he's hitting him on the elbow. That's a great point, that. You do... Listen, Test cricket needs you to be ruthless. Right? I don't want to like my Test team. It's why, you know what, for all his faults, Graham Smith is the best captain South Africa's ever had. He was ruthless. He wanted to win, and he didn't care about being popular. And Cameron, to your point, I've always said, I don't want to like my leader. Faf du Plessis tries too much to be popular. I don't like it. De Kock's not a captain, okay? By the way, you're not going to the subcontinent unless you've got a strong leader, because you've got to get everyone's buy-in, because technically the South African team's not good enough. You're going to have to win it with psyche and psyching Pakistan out. But De Kock's not a leader. He just wants to play. I'm sorry. I've met him. He doesn't really have that personality. Talent off the charts. He's not a leader. He's not a person. He's not imposing. And, I just don't think he's got the intangible skills to lead a bunch of men over the hill, if you will, proverbially speaking. So I think that's a great call. Cameron Booth says, George Linder is the second spinner in the team, but he's exactly the same as Maharaj. What is the plan with 2 defensive spinners? So, look, I saw Linder. I don't even consider him as a spinner. Like, I hear you. Cameron, what are we doing here? What are we doing? A debutant Maharaj, an injured Rabada, and a debutant really in Nokia. Is this what Proteas cricket has come to? And look, a little disrespectful to Linda there. You're quite correct. But They're 308. 308. Pakistan, a team that wasn't allowed to have people at home for nearly, what was it, 15 years? 12 years, I think it's been. I'm not happy. I'm not. This is and this is all avoidable. A little bit of succession planning and understanding. Where are the executives planning this? Selectors, technical staff. It's unbelievable. Yeah, Cameron, I just couldn't agree with your 2 points. It's no good. But hey, this is what it is. You got to suffer a little bit. No good. Proteas, no good. Selection, no good. Admin, no good. I'll back them to the death. You don't get to pick your country. You don't get to pick your country. It is what it is. All right. Well, before you go, push that one. That means you like the content. If you don't like the content, I don't know. Go back to eating dough or whatever you were doing before this. Blowing bubbles in the bath. I don't know what people are doing out there. But to everybody giving feedback, I'm eternally grateful. I'm MKT Inspires on all social media. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm MKT. This is Gareth Cliff. This is Cliff Central Sport. For tonight, please enjoy yourself. Be safe. Be loved. And ladies and gentlemen, for now, I am the hell out of here.